So we need to get going.
Recording in progress.
And I was just going to tell you that we are going to record this morning. So we're going to ask the speakers to kind of stay here at the podium so that we can capture on video. And we're going to be capturing the large group sessions. And then when we break into small groups, we'll take a break from the video. But I appreciate all of you being here today. It is humbling to think that you would be willing to give up this time to really focus on the future of GME. The world is a bit of a crazy place right now, and I know we all have lots of things outside of this room on our mind, both locally and globally, and I just want to recognize what a gift it is to be together here in this space and to be able to do some work and visioning as we go forward. So with much gratitude, thank you for being here. I'm Stacy Potts. I am the new Senior Associate Dean of GME, and I started back in June, and I've really enjoyed working with so many of you over these last few months. As you all know, I have very big shoes to fill following Dr. DeMarco's decades of experience. And so what I hope to do today is talk about where we are in GME and where we want to go. And we're going to start with some leadership messages about what GME means to the leadership and what it means to this community. And then we're really going to get to work. And this is going to be an active session. You are going to be engaged with your teams at your tables and also just closely with each other. So hopefully we will be working to build a community in GME. So really my goals, and before I go any further, because I don't want to forget at the end of the day, and often we wait for gratitude till the end of the day, I want to give a huge thank you to the GME office team who have done so much work over the last couple of days, getting all the details and all of those perfect folders and swag and everything together. I feel like we've been working for months. So if you guys wouldn't mind just giving a huge round of applause for... They don't even know what they're clapping for because they're so busy working, but we're clapping for you guys. So thank you. All right. And we'll come back to them and to how much gratitude I have for them in a little bit too. Again, for today, what I'm really hoping we can do is think about the vision and strategic goals for UMass and GME, really build on our community, and then really build some clear metrics and strategies going forward. So we will have next steps when we leave here this afternoon. And it will take a lot of focus and a lot of diligence in getting there. But I really hope when we leave here today, a whole lot of work will have been done and we will really understand where we're going and how to get there. But first, I want to start again, like I said, with some leadership messages. Provost Flatt couldn't be here today as he's across the globe giving some international talks, and he thought that was more important than being here. I don't know, but he did take the time to record this lovely message, and so we will play that and hope everything works the way that it should.
Hello, I'm Dr. Terry Flatt, the Dean here at UMass Chan Medical School. I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you here today, but I'm reassured by the fact that you're led by Dr. Stacy Potts, our Senior Associate Dean for Graduate Medical Education at T.H. Chan School of Medicine. Residency and fellowship is an incredibly important formative time for each physician in their career. And the residents and fellows also play indispensable roles in our system, taking care of patients and as the most frontline teachers of our students. Every year at this annual GME retreat, we have the opportunity to reflect on how we can help our GME learners to accomplish both their own goals and our institution's goals better. This year, Dr. Potts has determined to take this year's retreat for a strategic planning process. The goals of this strategic planning process are to establish ambitious objectives for the strategic plan, to build upon the existing strengths of our institution and of the existing GME programs, and then to set realistic and achievable but important milestones of success. We are very confident that over the next several hours, you, together with your leaders, will come up with a plan that is exciting and inspiring and does the best for the future of our graduate medical education learners. Thank you. Hello.
Let's not play that again. Sorry about the video and the audio being off. That sometimes is really annoying to me. But I would like to next bring up Dr. Pache to talk about the other side, the clinical side, and where GME fits in for that side. Thanks.
Advancing.
You can use all kinds of things. You can do this if you want, or you can use something else.
Perfect. Thanks, Stacy. Good morning, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here. For those that don't know me, I'm Steve Pache. I'm a radiologist by training. In radiology, I oversee quality and safety. More recently, I served as one of our associate chief medical officers under Dr. Carson. And now with Dr. Carson in his interim role as president of our medical staff, I'm one of our interim co-chief medical officers with Dr. Kobayashi. Within that role as co-chief medical officers, there's a variety of things that we oversee and help with, and one of those is working very closely with Stacy and all of you as it relates to GME, and particularly as GME docks in with the medical center. So what I'm going to do in these few moments and minutes here is to cover kind of three areas. First, to just show the system strategy for UMass Memorial Health, and then talk a little bit about the medical center strategy, particularly as it relates to academic missions. And then to hopefully answer, at least start the conversation about what GME means to the medical center. So again, this is our system strategy, and we aim to be New England's preeminent fully integrated academic healthcare system. And how are we going to do that? By delivering value to who we serve, which is our patients, our community, and our people. We're going to focus on seamless access, world-class innovation, the right settings of care delivery, and focus on the under-resourced, improved health status, and total health ownership. We're going to leverage our unique assets, and those include a relentless focus on quality, integrated physician network, diverse workforce force that's engaged, our lean management and quality improvement approach, research and teaching, and our integrated digital platforms. So what are the challenges that we're facing, and how are we going to think about overcoming them? Really, the key and core challenges that we're facing are workforce shortages. That's been a huge challenge, particularly coming out of COVID. It's getting better, but it's still a major challenge for our medical center. We have a mental health crisis that's obviously impacting our patients. It's impacting our caregivers as well. And probably most worrisome of all is our capacity and flow constraints. How are we going to overcome these challenges? We need to work together as an integrated system. We need to break down our silos, deliver high quality of care to patients with acute illness and injury, but also include the health and manage the cost for our entire population and patient communities. Our strategic priorities for this upcoming fiscal year will focus on allowing us to provide high quality, high value care while creating the best possible work environment for our caregivers. And that includes our trainees and our teachers. And how are we going to achieve these goals? We're going to leverage our innovative spirit. We have a commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And we have an academic partnership with UMass Chan Medical School, and ultimately the thousands of caregivers who, by working together, will achieve these goals. Again, we break down our strategic priorities into four sort of categories. Our patients, our promise is to provide the highest quality, safest, most equitable patient-centered care for all of our patients using our foundation of innovation to drive the ways that we're going to improve. And we'll meet our promise by taking actions through several key ways. We leverage our innovation station. That's sort of our idea boards where we funnel new ideas and how to execute on those. We're going to complete the implementation of our patient access center. And what that does is help us drive flow appropriately and move patients through our system, particularly in our outpatient areas, and furthering that through online scheduling directly by patients, and ultimately also increasing our inpatient bed capacity through the North Pavilion and other initiatives. Our people, we promise to recruit and retain the best caregivers, ensure every employee has a world-class caregiver experience, and provide a safe, supportive, and inclusive anti-racist work environment. We'll meet those promises by doing a variety of things, namely focused on staffing, recruitment, and retention, and we've made great progress in those areas. Our community, our promise is to improve the health of our region by addressing health disparities, social drivers of health, fully utilizing our community benefits and anchor missions, and enhancing our population health management capabilities. We want to ensure equitable and optimal care for all, and we'll meet that through, again, a variety of ways. We need to align our community health improvement activities toward improving health equity metrics established by our Mass Health program, develop and execute system-wide behavioral health strategies to address the mental health crisis, and screen and gather information, particularly centered on social determinants of health, and develop a health equity scorecard. And lastly, our future, our promise is to become a fully integrated healthcare system, deploy an innovative system-wide approach to care delivery, and leverage digital health and virtual medicine platforms to improve care and to ensure optimal and equitable care for our community and our future long-term sustainability. So moving forward into the medical center strategy. So we cascade down the strategy from our system to our entities, UMass Memorial Medical Center being the largest single entity. We're still working on the whole strategy package, but one element of that is our academic missions, and I think that's most applicable to this group. And you can see the steering team members on there, Dr. Mary Ahn, who most of you know, our Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs at UMass Chan Medical School, myself. Dr. Brian Gibbs, he's our Chief Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Officer for our system. Michelle O'Rourke is our Interim Chief Nursing Officer. You all know Dr. Stacy Potts, and Dr. Rosen is our Chair of Radiology. So the core principles for this academic missions is to enhance the professional and physical learning environment across all disciplines and trainee levels, and that's similar to the strategy from last year. What we're adding this year is evaluating and enhancing the teaching environment. It's not just important to have a great physical and professional environment for our trainees, but it also has to be there for our teachers as well. And we want to advance diversity, equity, inclusion to ensure that our medical center is a safe, nurturing environment for all to learn and grow. How are we going to achieve this? We have to have tactics to get us past, get us beyond just the strategy aspect. As it relates to the professional and physical learning environment, we've already developed a survey that our trainees receive on a quarterly basis, asking questions about standards of respect, and that's been going well. We're going to continue to do that into this fiscal year. And one of the discussions I'm hoping we'll have today is related to resident spaces and the physical learning environment, potentially creating a subcommittee of this body that will help oversee that process. Enhancing the teaching environment. So again, I think we need to collect data around this. We need to understand the baseline state. So we're going to take a similar approach to how we survey our trainees. We're going to survey our teachers. And then once we have that information, we need to implement meaningful and beneficial change based on that. And then the last piece related to diversity, equity, inclusion. We need to utilize the resources of our DEIB office to develop a seminar tailored to caregivers throughout UMMC. So we're really going to aim to have this seminar and have leaders in various areas throughout the medical center take that over the course of the next fiscal year. This is our work structure. It just aligns our process for how we're going to achieve these strategies and goals. And you could see that it cascades down from the steering committee to the executive committee and then the 3 key work streams. This just shows our metrics that we're going to be looking at. The first one is the likelihood to recommend by our residents and other trainees. And then the 2 new metrics that we're introducing are the teachers' likelihood to recommend our medical center, as well as the seminar participation. So the last 2 slides I'll just touch on. I think the really key question for today is why is GME important to our medical center and our system? Well, it helps us overcome our challenges, truthfully. Workforce shortages, right? So our trainees, fellows, residents, we can recruit them. They're high quality candidates. We've trained them. The mental health crisis, innovative cutting edge approaches. That's what GME develops. That's what they teach our residents. Wellness, behavioral health, it's all part of that. And evidence shows that teaching can also help combat burnout. Capacity and flow constraints. Residents and fellow service frontline caregivers through their learned skills, not only in excellent medical practice, but in delivering system-based approach helps facilitate flow in a high quality way. And lastly, GME is a key aspect of our strategic priorities for our patients. Our trainees help with event reporting. They help with quality improvement efforts. They're going to be critical to the increasing size of our medical center as programs which you all oversee are growing to accommodate that. Our people, GME helps develop and enhance and create innovative career pathways. It's amazing how I hear new electives and new approaches to fellowships and resident training. They help with talent acquisition, particularly including a diverse workforce, and wellness programs are also developed by GME that not only benefit the trainees, but also benefit the physicians and the variety of caregivers, nurses, and others throughout the medical center. And also simulation development. GME is key to developing simulations, which then also benefit caregivers throughout the medical center. Our community outreach and clinics for the underserved, our trainees help those populations tremendously. And by doing that, they develop an awareness of what the community needs and then help advocate for that. They also used evidence-based teaching and practice, which is shown to have better outcomes for the entire community of our patients. And lastly, our future. Our trainees really are the future of healthcare. They're going to be leveraging and advancing digital health platforms. That's what they learned. I didn't learn on digital health platforms, and I'm only 15 years out, but that's what they've done from the very beginning of their caregiver journey. They're going to develop and access artificial intelligence and data-driven methodologies at their fingertips. And through that, they're going to expand high quality care through to growing patient populations are growing. And they're going to do it in a cost-effective, equitable, and sustainable way. So with that, I'll close, and I hope we have a really productive retreat today, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pache. I think there's some really exciting alignment with what those strategic priorities are, and I look forward to how GME will play a role in that going forward. So thank you for that. Dr. Marlena Duncan was going to join us this morning, but she is unable to. And so I have another video to share from her. She is the Vice Chancellor for Diversity and Inclusion, and she's really working to build a community of belonging here at the medical school. I have a few slides here which will be distributed to you just from the DIO office, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to try to present her slides, but I am going to play a video which does a really outstanding job of sharing the work that the DIO is doing. And so hopefully this.
Over the past year, we've had several points of pride, especially advancing together around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And there's no way that we can do this work alone. So it's so important that we collaborate with our amazing researchers, faculty, staff, and learners to make sure that we have an inclusive, equitable, and anti-racist institution.
I'm very proud to be part of an institution that does have a diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging specific program. It recognizes that we all come from different walks of life. We all come from different backgrounds. We have different cultures and values that we carry that make us who we are. Not only are we heard, but the resources that we need to be our best, to achieve excellence, is provided.
The harsh reality of it is the higher you go in education, the less people that you see that look like me. Having a group, having a place where people that are underrepresented in medicine can all get together and be with each other and confide with one another, it's really eye-opening.
It's incredibly important to have DEIB programming at the University of Massachusetts, specifically because we are a predominantly white institution. Having these DEIB programming, it allows us to have a space where we can see that there are other people like us succeeding in far-reaching places in this institution. And I would say that generally just makes sure that all of the people that are like myself, who were just first years last year, saying that it is possible. Even though everyone tells you it is, sometimes it can feel hopeless, but I would say that a lot of these programmings, they give hope to a lot of people in my position.
As part of our ongoing efforts to foster a diverse, equitable, and inclusive learning and working environment, we regularly conduct a climate survey that assesses the perceptions, experiences, and concerns of our learners, faculty, and staff. The survey helps us identify areas of strength, areas for improvement, and the changing needs of our community members, allowing us to develop targeted initiatives and policies to promote a positive and inclusive climate at our institution.
At 4Health Consulting, our work is all based on making our health care experience more equitable, effective, and accessible for everyone. And in order to do that, our culture needs to reflect that. When we had the opportunity to jump into this pilot, we saw it as a great way to memorialize and put a frame around the work that we've already been doing. This is amongst our highest strategic priorities. It's visible to the organization everywhere we go. It's on our website. It's in all of our communications. We weave it into everything we do. We believe that that's going to bring us a culture where people feel like they're respected, they're included, and that they belong in. And that's what's going to inspire people to feel engaged and empowered. And frankly, is the passion behind why our people do the work that they do, to try to make the healthcare experience better, because better means all of us.
I hadn't thought about restorative justice as it applied to medicine. I had heard about it a little bit with regard to the criminal justice system or sort of other areas in society, but I think that its application in medicine is really an exciting opportunity, and I was thrilled that they offered the training and that it was available to me and I got to participate. It's something that I really believe in, creating a culture of community and connection within people, and I think increasingly it's getting harder and harder to find that in medicine, and there are a lot of problems with burnout and medical professionals being unhappy, and I think a lot of that is about returning back to the human connection that's in medicine.
As we reflect on the achievements of this past year, we're reminded that fostering a culture of inclusion and belonging is an ongoing journey. It requires a collective effort, continuous learning, and an unwavering commitment from all members of our community. I extend my deepest gratitude for the dedication, support, and engagement in advancing our shared vision of a truly inclusive and anti-racist institution.
So thank you. I think this is a really powerful video, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to share it with you. And again, Dr. Duncan would love to be here with us today and is unable to be, but obviously there's a lot of great work going on in this space. And now I'd like, gosh, I did it again. I'm really, really happy to introduce Krista Johnson-Abakwu, who is new to our institution, but we are so lucky to have her here. And she is working in the Collaborative for Health Equity and really bringing our school and our clinical missions into the community and connecting the dots. So thank you so much for being here this morning. And I will give you the clicker.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dean Platts. It's such an honor to be with you all today. And thank you for the opportunity to really join you all and really partner in how we can truly center health equity in our commitment to enhancing the care of the communities that we serve. And so I am an OBGYN physician at UMass Memorial Health, and I am just so excited to be stepping into this brand new role here at UMass Chan as the Executive Director of the Collaborative in Health Equity. And as part of our mission, it's really anchored in how we can nurture and sustain community embeddedness and trust in all that we do as an institution, and really centering health equity throughout our innovations in clinical care, in research, in education, and how we engage with the local community as well as globally. And our learners, our residents and fellows are at the core of making this happen. And as part of what I'm hoping to achieve through the collaborative is really to bolster community workforce development, the way in which we're able to enhance the participation of minoritized communities in research and clinical trials, and how we also help to amplify pathways to diversifying our workforce. And really the grand vision is to advance health equity for the vulnerable, underserved, and historically marginalized communities that we care for. And so as part of this work with the collaborative, community engagement and outreach is really central. Well, one, it's also how we unite our UMass Chan community, our 3 schools, our regional partners at Leahy and the Bay State campus, our clinical hospitals and affiliates. And then also across not only our system, but how do we now bring this in terms of how we interface with our communities that we serve across the region? Global health is such an important arm of what we plan to do. There are enormous opportunities that our current faculty and learners are engaging in that we really want to center and bring under this large umbrella to how we enhance our bidirectional partnerships and global entities, but also how we meet the needs of a very growing and diverse population that we are serving here from all over the world. And so one of the key arms of what I'm hoping to do is through some targeted focus in our faculty and trainee development, create a community investment fund where we're going to be piloting research projects that I hope to engage our learners, our residents and fellows, that will help really give them a backbone of skill in how do you carry out community engaged research that really advances and addresses the challenges facing our communities. And also, not as clear on the slide, but I'm really wanting to hone in on how we can intentionally drive attention to our underrepresented learners of color, but also how we can nurture deeper partnerships so our teams can reflect the communities that we're hoping to build greater trust with. And so when you think about these 4 arms, collectively we aim to drive greater innovations in care, and most importantly, have social, community, and global impact in terms of addressing the social drivers of inequities, including racism and bias and discrimination. And so just to hone in on just what these 4 arms will comprise, under community engagement and outreach, we really aim to center the voices. And some of that really is going to be anchored in some foundational work that I'm hoping to engage in around restorative justice, where we are creating listening tours, where we want to raise community awareness about research and find new pathways of engagement that centers their voices and nurtures trust longitudinally and establishes transparency and metrics of accountability. I'm hoping to coalesce all the excellent silos of great work that's already happening across our institutions, so to be able to center, for us to know what's happening, but also for the community to really realize what we're seeking to do on our impact and really have a wide dissemination plan for engaging our larger community. And under global health, we're really wanting to nurture collaborative partnerships to accelerate bilateral exchange that will improve health and sustained impact, and not only working within UMass Chan and our affiliates, but also across Worcester's other numerous colleges and universities to really strengthen multidisciplinary partnerships and then really enhance the prominence and visibility of our work, not only addressing global health issues, but also looking at how we can bring those lessons learned to apply to our diverse communities that we're serving in increasing numbers and really become a regional, if not national, leader in global and migrant health and research. And so we hope to really partner closely with the GME office in terms of some of these efforts in strengthening these partnerships, looking at ways to enhance our data sharing platforms to engage in research, and really providing structure around mentorship for future global health research engagements and that we seek to pursue. And then with our arm under research, education, or training, this is where our community investment fund will be anchored, where we'll be putting out competitively applied proposals to be able to ground the social drivers of health inequities and how we engage in community-based research. And this is where a GME office is going to be a really strategic partner for us, because we're hoping that we can really leverage our learners to enhance the the frameworks that they are able to engage in as they carry out research. And this could be longitudinal, that could be embedded within our department, so that it's not an individual project by a learner who will soon graduate, but it's something that becomes part of the formative anchor of a given clinical department that can be further amplified by sustained engagement over numerous years of learners engaging in particular efforts. And with that, we hope to bolster through this particular arm of the collaborative mentorship opportunities to really provide structure and pathways for that great projects would lead to further grant admission proposals or service opportunities that address a community identified need, or manuscripts that lead to policy implications that inform care. And lastly, I'm so excited about this new arm that I feel is so value added to all the amazing work that's already happening here at this institution in terms of how do we focus intentionality to bolstering the community workforce development and capacity building. And we know the evidence is robust and growing that communities who've been historically minoritized and marginalized receive better care when cared for by a more diverse community of caregivers. And so with that, I'm seeking to really build upon the amazing work that's already happening through Dr. Mark Johnson and UMass Light and the DIO office, and the work that Dr. Gibbs and Dr. Brian Lewis and Robert Lane are leading, to really see how we can bolster intentionality and how we really seek to make sure that our teams reflect our communities in terms of the research, in terms of how we engage in some of the community capacity building, and how we really nurture step ladders of workforce development that anchors community health workers and patient navigators and doulas, for instance. And so I'm so excited that we've been able to recruit Dr. Sharice Hamblin. She is the founder and CEO of Patients Are Waiting, which is a national pipeline initiative that she formed several years ago in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we are bringing her here to UMass. She's an OBGYN. She's going to be launching our doula program within our OBGYN department, but she's also going to be heading this particular arm of the collaborative. And we'll be creating a UMass Chan site here, really to amplify our work within the Worcester community in nurturing and amplifying a lot of the work that we're doing here, and working across our various partners, but also really amplifying the visibility of UMass and our learners in our faculty engage in health equity research and education and clinical service, both regionally and nationally. And in so doing, I hope that we can be able to cultivate, nurture, and sustain deeper and enduring trust with communities who've been marginalized. And in so doing, we can enhance the participation of minorities in clinical trials and research, and really accelerate our social, community, and global impact. And so this is all going to be seamlessly integrated. So all of these four arms are really going to be anchored in terms of how do we better center our community, center the margins, and invest in addressing these social drivers of inequity. And so I'm really excited to partner with you all and partner with Dean Potts and look at ways through our learners that we can truly really be a game changer in terms of how we can amplify our commitment to not only service, but care and research embedded within our communities that we serve. So I'm just honored to be part of this team and really look forward to nurturing strong relationships with you all and our learners in the coming year. So thank you.
So does anybody have any questions for Steve or Krista before they walk away too far? Because we have a few minutes if people want to have any further discussion about these big initiatives. Yes.
Absolutely. So Patients Are Waiting is an initiative that Dr. Hamblin founded to really look at ways that our students can find better nurturing and mentorship to pursue careers in the health professions, whether it's nursing or PA or even medicine. And she really leans into creating a national collaborative of partners of different institutions, working with the Student National Medical Association and the Latino Student Medical Association and other HBCU entities to really support creating materials both in person and virtual to provide students at multiple levels, starting from high school, and she's even thinking about even earlier, to be able to expose them to medicine through opportunities where they can either work in clinical spaces, be exposed to research, understand the programs and pathways to enhance your application for the different programs, as well as be able to participate in institutional efforts around like the post-baccalaureate or undergraduate or summer programs and enrichment programs. And so a lot of this program already exists, but what I have learned from talking with our colleagues over my recent months here is that we're not able to capture a large enough pool of students in the Worcester community who have the competitive portfolio to be able to successfully gain admission into our UMass programs. And so leaning into that with intentionality is what I see is going to be so value added to the amazing programs we already have existing in terms of how can we bolster the pool of applicants who can successfully gain admission into UMass, but not just that. Once they get here, how can we further support and enhance their experience here so that we can retain them, so that when they graduate, they're not flying to somewhere else, but we can retain them. And that really starts with intentionality in terms of making sure we're recruiting more faculty that look like me, that look like others who've been minoritized, and we can be the mentors to better support these learners. And so it's multi-pronged, leaning into how do we make sure that our existing trainees have the kind of experience that despite what they might experience in terms of microaggressions and bias, that they are well supported throughout their journey of training, throughout residency, throughout their fellowship, so that they are incentivized and are compelled because of the rich community of support that's here to stay on and continue to build their careers here, so that they themselves can be like me and others, lean in with intentionality to supporting how we can better recruit our future students. I see this, that we're chasing our tails so much that we're so often focused on recruitment of individuals of color or underrepresented. But when they look at our programs, they don't see anyone that looks like them. And I even in my prior work for 15 years, I was also very heavily involved in our residency training program at my prior institution. And again, I was woefully underrepresented. I represent, as a full profession OBGYN, only 0.8% of women physicians of color in the United States. And that statistic has not changed in over 40 years. So clearly, despite our best efforts, something is still not working. Something is still broken. I'm trying to forge a new path where we lean in with intentionality at all the spokes of this spectrum. And it's not just one, it's a multiple of areas that we really need to work together and amplify our collective efforts to make sure that we are creating a bigger pool of applicants who would be considered competitive to gain entry into institutions such as ours. Once they get here, how can we better support our students who invariably are going to continue to experience bias, discrimination, weathering? But how do we also support them on that journey so that when they're done, they want to stay here. They want to envision their future here. They want to envision giving back to their communities, better serving and forming their residency programs and fellowship programs, and being one of the faculty like myself who can lean in with even greater intentionality to be the faces of future applicants that would want to come here. And so it's something I'm deeply passionate about and seeking to build a team to really amplify the amazing work already happening here, especially with what Dr. Johnson is doing, and really seek to really work together to take this to the next level in terms of how can we truly be the leader for the region and the country in exemplifying our values of advancing health equity in serving our communities and enhancing research. And that really has to start with our workforce and our commitment to mentorship. And I just want to join in that challenge and that journey. And I feel as though I am stepping into what I feel I've been put on this planet to do at this point in time, at this point in our nation's history, at this crisis of equity, to do just that. And I'm eager to partner with you all in pushing that forward. And I really think we are uniquely positioned to do that and achieve that at this time. So I'm just honored to be just one piece of that larger goal of working together with you and achieving this. So thank you.
Thanks so much. And I want to kind of point out, we have one of our work groups today will be working on that community of belonging. So as you're talking about how do we build a sense of community in GME and a place where we're able to retain these talented physicians as they develop, I think that's where we want to focus that work today. So thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so thank you. I am really happy that we're running on time. So I appreciate that part. And I said that we were going to be interactive, and we got one question from the audience. I really want to move into a little bit more engagement from all of you, as we've had, almost an hour now of you all being talked at. What I'd like to do is really think about why we're here. And we have a statement of commitment, and it's in I didn't go through your folders with you, but you'll see mostly on the front left is a statement of commitment to GME. And this is between our school and UMass Memorial Health. And the reason I gave that to you as a resource, because it is malleable, and we're going to think about this today. And if something is missing there, or something is not the vision that we want going forward, I hope that we will be able to hear about that and move forward with a stronger commitment from our institutions. But right now, you will see there's a long list of strategies there and commitments. But the big ones are that our trainees will receive the highest quality educational experience, and that we will focus on building that learning environment that's free of bias and discrimination, and really promote the success of all of our trainees. And I think as we think about what we're doing today, we should think about this commitment going forward. So when in sort of the pre-work for this, I sent out a survey and we got many answers. And I realized from these answers that maybe I should have asked first, who is UMass Chan Graduate Medical Education? Because some of the answers I got made me realize some people see it as the office of GME, specifically these wonderful folks who do all the work behind the scenes and in front of the scenes and help you every day when you call. And there are many wonderful strengths brought up about that office of GME. Are we the office of GME and coordinators? Is that what makes up GME? Are we also all the program staff and the program directors? Are we the faculty as well? We should certainly include the trainees. But what it comes down to, in my mind, is that we really are defining the future of healthcare. And earlier you heard from our speakers about how graduate medical education impacts the future. And I think about Dr. Bachet saying, you know, that they're growing up in this digital medicine and they have those resources there for them since they started training in medicine, but actually long before, kind of back to the crib, I think many of our learners have been looking at these digital resources in a different way. And so when you think about how we are training our future of healthcare and how we all impact that, it is a great purpose and a great motivation for the work that we do. And I greatly appreciate everybody who commits so much of themselves to this work, because I think it is really a calling to be in graduate medical education and really think about the future physicians and how we are going to achieve health equity in our community. So as promised, I do want to get you talking to each other. So we're going to talk about what motivates us. And this is an activity. You will see there are yellow cards and blue cards on your table. I only want you to use the yellow cards and the blue cards for this exercise. There are some other sized cards and other colored cards, but take the yellow and blue cards. And what I want you to think about and write down is, on the yellow sheet, write down what gets you up in the morning. And on the blue card, the twilight card, what keeps you up at night. So everybody grab one blue card, one yellow card, write down these thoughts. And then once you've written them down, I want you to share them with a partner. Okay, so I don't want to interrupt your awesome discussions now that I got you talking, but we're going to move on. Hold on to those yellow and blue slips that you filled out because I have another job for those a little bit later. On your break, I'm going to have you pin them over on a board there so that we can think about purpose and challenge. And I want you to look at the statement and decide whether it has more to do with your purpose or challenges that you're facing, and then pin them on the side of the board that aligns with that. And I'll go over those instructions again when we get to the break and I have you move around and do that. And of course, you'll be allowed to get more coffee then too, and water and snacks, and we're gonna feed you really well today. But for now, I wanna talk about where we are in terms of the what we do in UMass Chan GME. And our programs. So I'm going to go through some just big picture data of who GME is here at UMass Chan. Well, we have 25 residency programs. We have 40 ACGME accredited fellowships and another 22 non-standard fellowships. So those of you who are doing quick math, that's 87 programs that is in our GME world. So again, congratulations to an incredible group running an incredible set of programs. And as evidence to that, we have 98% of those programs in perfect standing, meaning that they have continued accreditation, initial accreditation, or continued accreditation without outcomes, which for those of you who may not be familiar with that term, it just means they're new programs who have come off initial accreditation but haven't had graduates yet. So we don't have the outcomes yet. And then just one program on continued accreditation with warning. And overall, out of all those programs, we only have 27 program citations. And I think that's just really outstanding when you think of those, all of those accredited programs and the few issues that we have. So congratulations to all of you on that. And now let's think about the people. Who makes up UMass Chan GME? And we have a really great group of new fun faces in the Office of GME. And you may be thinking, boy, there's a huge shift in the Office of GME. But these are some of the words that came up on that survey I was talking about earlier. A lot of awesome strength within this team. And although we may look new to all of you, overall, we have more than 60 years of experience in GME. So a lot of really great wisdom here, and we are here for the programs, for the learners, for all of the program leadership and administration to really make sure that the programs remain as strong as they are today and more. So in terms of coordinators, we have an incredible group of coordinators, many of you in the room here. I won't make you stand up and do how many years you've been in your position, but we do have 4 TAGME certified program coordinators in our institution, which is an extra level of expertise. And we also have 20% of our program coordinators with greater than 10 years experience. So a lot of great experience here and a lot of great work. Melissa's done a great job bringing that the coordinator group together, and really the advice that we get from the coordinator group is really important. So thank you to all of the coordinators for all the work that you do. In terms of faculty, we have more than 1,000 faculty, and these are just the faculty that are listed within our ACGME annual updates. Obviously, we have a lot more faculty at this institution that contributes to residency experiences and education. 84% of the core faculty participated in faculty development, and a big shout out to Reed, who is behind a lot of that faculty development, so thank you. And also that group of faculty, this greater than 1,000 faculty logged in ACGME, have produced almost 600 publications that were logged there, and likely more than that because you can't log more than 4 per person. And that's just in this last year. So an incredibly scholarly group of faculty are teaching our residents. In terms of GME admissions, last year we had a 97% program match rate, and in terms of diversity, this is what, I hope you can, yeah, it actually looks better on your screen. We have about 50% of our current residents and fellows that matched with us that identify as white. And then you can see the other half of the circle has significant diversity throughout it. Still more work to be done there for sure. And again, the success in bringing in a diverse set of learners is just the first step. And we really need to think about how we build a community of belonging here for everyone. We have 677 GME trainees in our institution at this time. 65% of them had reported research, 97% participated in scholarly activity, and again, over 150 publications. And I think this is really outstanding, and I think it speaks to what GME brings to this institution and what this institution how this institution is training future physicians for a complicated future in healthcare. In terms of resident satisfaction, we've got 91% of residents and fellows would recommend their programs. And this is indeed would probably recommend and would definitely recommend. And you can see the numbers are a little bit lower for just that highest grade. And this data is from our annual anonymous survey. And again, as Dr. Boucher mentioned earlier, we're doing this quarterly now and asking residents to get more of a pulse of things, not just a once a year check-in, so that we can follow this closely. In terms of program retention, meaning how many of our trainees start here and finish the program they started, 97%. And I think that is a strong number, and I'd like to see it even higher. Our trainee diversity, you saw the matched group. This is the current group of all the 677, so a little bit different. And so thinking about, is there a change? Are we doing better recruiting more diverse pool? And last year was a start of a trend, or are we, out of these folks that aren't staying? Is there some disparity there? So we need to watch that closely. In terms of ultimate board certification, 95% achieve ultimate certification in their boards. And I think this is really an important outcome also to monitor and watch. When I was a program director and residents would come to me with some innovative idea that they wanted to do either for their own training or for the program to shift gears, I'd always say there's two immovable things. Otherwise, we can be pretty flexible. One is that we need to maintain accreditation. Our programs are doing that well. And the second is that you will be board eligible when you leave here and ultimately be able to achieve certification. And I think we're doing very well as an institution in both of those measures, but there are some folks that are not meeting those. And I think we need to continue to work to achieve closer to 100%. In terms of more granular data, we have evaluation completion rates. And what I want you to look at here is this are three different evaluations. One, resident evaluation of faculty, resident evaluation of service, and then faculty evaluation of resident. And these are over years. And I think you can all look at this and see the trend is going in the wrong direction. We have fallen a little bit in terms of getting our evaluation data done. And I think it's really important that we continue to focus on this, not only as an ACGME requirement and one that, we will have difficulty maintaining our excellent accreditation statuses without achieving better evaluation rates, but it's also really important to our trainees that they get the feedback for their ongoing growth and get redirected if they're coming off the path to success. And so just thinking about how we make that easier going forward, I think is something important to consider today. We also have some required curriculum that we track centrally. This includes patient safety curriculum and QI curriculum. And you can see through the years. So the bottom is 2021, and then our current year is 23, 24. And of course, we're not through the year yet. So hopefully those numbers will continue to grow, but you will see that particularly in the QI, we've had a drop, and also in the patient safety trainings, we've had a drop. And again, some of this may be due to the movement from it coming out centrally from our office quite as much, and us trying to have it more department-based, but we need to look at those challenges and figure out how to improve these rates again. So, any question about any of that data or other questions you have that I didn't answer in terms of data? Yes, I'm hoping that we can pull that data out because I think that's the important question. And we weren't able to do that for today, but we're hoping to be able to dig into that a bit more and sort that out. Because I think as we try to build the community of belonging, if we have clear data that we're not doing well there, we need to figure that out. And I also wonder about, Yes. So thank you. We will work on that. Yeah, I love that question. And I don't have national benchmark data, but again, I will work at looking through the AANC data and see if I can match some of this up to that, because I think that's also important. Because we could look at these numbers and say they're awesome, but without knowing that we're above the mean, 95, 97, those all look like good numbers. But like I said, we're looking to achieve close to 100%, but I don't know what the national averages are. So it would be good to know that. One of the things that is a bit of a barrier when it comes to looking at institutional GME is that there has not been a DIO group, and we have just formed one now. So I'm hoping that we will be able to gather sort of more momentum towards those kind of national benchmarks. Any other questions? This part is, I call it a challenge because I know it's a challenge to play a bit. I hopefully the yellow and blue cards warmed you up a little bit, but you don't even know what's coming. So what we're going to do is a role play. I know people love role plays. So I want you to think about a couple of we're going to do a lot of group work from here on out today. And we're going to do a role play and debrief it a little bit, and then it'll be break. So if you're feeling like, oh my God, a role play, don't worry, a break is coming. And this is meant to be fun. So really, I want you to engage as much as possible. And as we think of group work going forward, I Googled kind of group work rules, and there are a lot of really cute ones from, first and second grade classrooms. But I think it speaks to, as we're doing group work, really thinking about how to listen well, and also to take risks, to share your perspectives. We have really diverse perspectives in this room. You all are important leaders in graduate medical education and have really important things to say, both from your own experience and what you hear from residents and trainees. And so please, please speak up with your perspectives, and please, please listen to other people's perspectives as we do this work. That will give us the best outcomes for today. So moving on to the role plays. I have in my hand some role plays. And what I'm going to ask you to do is get in groups of 3. You can have 4, and in groups of 4, you'll just have 2 observers. So, I think the math will work out that you can stay at your tables for the most part. And one person will be Dr. Jones, one person will be Dr. Rowland, and then we'll have observers. It's really important to engage fully. It will take a couple of minutes to read your role and understand your role. And then I want you to negotiate with the other role player about the limited resources, which happen to be oranges. And I have props on the table of oranges, just so you can imagine what this is like. I'm going to hand these out, and then I'm going to have you read your roles. So I'm going to hand them out just in threes, and then you divide them, but only read your sheet. No cheating. All right. Let me run around and 2-minute warning, please find your solution. Okay, so time's up. Dr. Rowland and Dr. Jones, I'm sorry, the negotiation is closed. Take a couple minutes if you haven't yet for the observer to share their thoughts and what they saw. If you are the observer, please share kind of what you witnessed, what worked, what didn't work. Saved.
Recording in progress.
So many of you did, some of you didn't. What was the problem here? Yeah, and there's not enough of them, right? So I sort of define that as limited resources. Yeah, so you were trying to put kind of a value on where the oranges would save the most lives. Oh, tell me more about that, Grutza.
Right, are you getting the intel from the Russians about these bombs? No, so we started doing, kind of trying to understand, trying to quantify. Yes, when we started, she was asking me about how many women, and I was like saying, yes, a lot, many. There's an outbreak, but we couldn't really quantify. But we both were trying to understand that each other's problems was a big problem. And then actually it was Dr. Rowland who mentioned, but what part of the orange do you actually need? And I think I have already mentioned we need to make juice, but then I went back and yes, it's just the juice. And she was like, well, I actually need just, the skin. And okay, so but something we had agreed before that is like, let's just resolve this between us. Let's not compete, in prices, who has more money. Let's just go into the more like the ethical. That we had to agree on that. And then after we decide, okay, let's buy them together. Let's go low, let's find, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and isn't that sort of what we do all the time? It's a little bit of a competition of what we value more versus what somebody else might value more, and coming to an agreement about that is sometimes very challenging. Bina? That's right. So as Gurutza was saying, it turns out that one of the doctors only needs the pulp and one of the doctors only needs the rind. And you have these props in front of you, right? Like, you know what an orange looks like. But what happens in negotiation is you kind of dig into the fact that no, my people that I'm saving is more important. My values are more important than yours, that you almost sort of lose sight of if there's possible ways to both get what you need. So the interests of Dr. Rowland and Dr. Jones were both like really important life-saving treatments that were going to really change. And both Dr. Rowland and Dr. Jones are passionate about those areas. And so often that emotional side, that passion is going to get in the way of sort of really thinking through a problem. And then, options really become this collaboration. And if you start to listen to each other, then you find the solution. And I know some of you, a group over here who's busily doing something else now, we're very quick to come to a solution. And I'm curious from you guys, was there a specific thing that led you to the solution so quickly?
I think that we were very straightforward with each other about what we needed, what we wanted. Although we both kind of assumed that we had similar information sort of at the beginning, but then we were very specific about what we wanted and why we wanted it, and then quickly realized that we could work together. We decided to be examples for our respective companies on how to be collaborative.
That's right. So putting that bad blood behind you, very good. I think that was very helpful in this scenario. So let me ask you before we go to break, do we in GME ever have limited resources? Do we ever have competing passions and interests? And how often can we come together and collaborate to find win-win solutions? And that's kind of what we're doing today. And as we, after break, come back to do this small group work, I really want you to think about how our negotiation skills will get us all in GME to a better place in our institutions. Again, I think we often are struggling with this idea of limited resources in GME and how to make more from what we have and how to negotiate more from either one of the institutions. And again, thinking about how we can work together across programs and through a centralized office of GME to achieve more through that collaboration. So I told you you had one assignment during break. Does anybody remember what it is? Blue and yellow cards, purpose versus challenge. There's push pins over there. I'm trusting you with push pins. Don't hurt yourselves or anyone else. Also feel free to eat the oranges, and there's other snacks still available and lots of coffee, and we'll be back at 10:15. Enjoy your break.